Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes a whole stack of sources and really boils them down, custom tailored just for you. Today, we are plunging into something that feels, well, incredibly timely, especially if you're leading a team or just, navigating today's workplace. Think about this for a second. Are your absolute best people kind of quietly checking out? Disengaging. And maybe do your meetings feel like they're just turning into blame games, projects stalling out?
Mm-hmm.
If any of that sounds familiar, our source today suggests you might be feeling the pinch of what it calls go-getter leadership.
Right.
Those short-term wins that can honestly just leave engagement, creativity, retention, even mental bandwidth kind of in tatters. But, and this is the good part, this deep dive promises a bit of a shortcut. A shortcut to understanding our really crucial, maybe counterintuitive, but wow, really effective leadership shift.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. This whole problem, disengagement, burnout, innovation, just hitting a wall, it is everywhere in workplaces today. It's so pervasive. And lots of leaders are grappling with the symptoms, right?
Right.
But maybe not clearly seeing the root cause.
Okay.
What's really interesting about the source material we're looking at is that it doesn't just point out the problem. It actually offers what it calls a counterintuitive but repeatable shift.
A repeatable shift.
Exactly. And this isn't just like high-level theory. It's a fundamental change in approach. One, the article reports, has led to some truly remarkable, tangible results for teams. Real results.
That's exactly why we wanted to dig into this. The source we're diving into today, it's an article called Stop Losing Talent, the simple leadership shift that stops burnout, boosts engagement 30%, and unlocks real innovation by Gunther Williams. So our mission really for this deep dive is to unpack this powerful shift, specifically moving from taking to giving, and how that can, fundamentally transform team engagement, really slash conflict, and just unleash creativity. Yeah.
I mean, the article's description alone throws out some pretty wild statistics. It says teams report this shift increases engagement by up to 30%.
30%.
Cuts workplace conflict by 25%, and immediately frees creativity. I mean, that's a massive impact.
Huge.
So, okay, let's unpack this. What exactly is this leadership shift?
Well, at its heart, it's really a profound paradigm shift. It's moving from what the author calls go-getter leadership to go-giver leadership.
Go-getter versus go-giver.
Exactly. The traditional go-getter leader, as the article describes them, they're focused mostly on their own personal achievement. They often operate from what the Arbinger Institute calls an inward mindset.
An inward mindset. Oh.
Yeah, their focus is really on what they can get, what they can extract or gain from a situation or from people.
So that inward mindset, how does the article say that impacts the team? What's the effect?
Well, it means basically seeing other people almost like objects or obstacles or maybe just tools to achieve their personal success.
Yeah. It's a mentality of seeing the world purely in terms of how it serves their goals. And look, while this approach might, ironically, get that leader some short-term individual wins.
Right. You can see how that might happen.
For
right?
sure. But the article is super clear. It comes at a huge cost to the team's overall health and its long-term performance.
Yeah.
It just leads to drained people, guarded communication because trust is low, and inevitably stalled innovation. Team members just aren't motivated, right? They're not going to stick their neck out or offer up those game-changing ideas if they feel like they're just a cog in someone else's machine. Or worse, maybe even a competitor.
Okay, so that's the go-getter focused on personal gain, extraction, inward mindset. How does the go-giver leadership style flip that? What's the basic reorientation?
It's a total reorientation, a complete flip. The go-giver leader operates from what's called an outward mindset. Instead of seeing team members as just resources to be used for their own ends, they actually see them as people, individuals.
Yeah.
With their own goals, their own challenges, their own value.
Right.
The core focus shifts. It becomes about creating exceptional value for others, not just extracting value for themselves.
Okay.
And this change, this shift in orientation, it profoundly reshapes the workplace. It transforms it into a place where people don't just endure their jobs. They actually stay. They actively contribute. And crucially, they pull each other forward. It's really about genuine investment in the success and the well-being of the whole team.
That makes a lot of sense. It sounds much less like a zero-sum game, more collaborative.
Exactly.
So, okay, mindset shift is key. But you mentioned those really remarkable stats earlier. How do these go-giver principles actually translate into, concrete results, business impact?
Oh, they translate directly to the bottom line.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this so much more than just a sort of nice-to-have philosophy.
Right.
The article clearly states that organizations that intentionally move towards this go-giver leadership, they report up to 30% increases in employee engagement.
30%.
Just think about that. Nearly a third more people are fully invested, showing up, doing their best work.
Wow.
And it doesn't stop there. They also see, on average, a 25% reduction in workplace conflict.
25% less conflict.
Imagine the energy saved.
Exactly. Think about how much time, energy, mental bandwidth is freed up when you cut a quarter of your team's conflict. And on top of that, there are measurable improvements in innovation, customer satisfaction too.
Okay.
So this translates directly to fewer talented people leaving, right?
Yeah.
Faster problem solving when things do go wrong. And ultimately a better product market fit because creativity is actually genuinely unleashed. It's really a strategic advantage, not just some soft skill.
Okay, this is sounding incredibly powerful. Transforming from go-getter to go-giver, huge impact. But how do you actually do it? What's involved practically? The article outlines some key principles, doesn't it? It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It highlights 4 core principles that really form the foundation of making this shift happen. The first one is called the law of value.
The law of value.
This principle, it's borrowed from the broader concept in the Go-Giver book. And it basically suggests that your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment.
Giving more value than you take in payment. Okay, it sounds good. Intuitively positive. But for a leader, what does that actually look like? Day to day, beyond just, assigning tasks? What's the difference?
It's really about making your team more valuable to the world. Not just more valuable to your immediate project or, frankly, to your own career progression.
Ah, okay. Broader perspective.
Exactly. Practically, it means investing in your team's growth in ways that go beyond what directly benefits you or your immediate goals right now. Like maybe sponsoring their professional development or creating what the article calls stretch opportunities, chances for them to really grow. But crucially, doing it without needing to hoard the credit yourself. Think about actively connecting your team members with mentors outside your own department. Even if, down the line, it means they might move to a different team or even a different company.
That takes some security in your leadership, right?
It does. But that long-term investment, that clear commitment to their individual flourishing, well, it builds incredible loyalty. It ensures they're truly with you. And just as important, it also means actively removing obstacles that are stopping your team members from succeeding. Not just pointing out the problems, but actually helping clear the path.
Right.
When leaders consistently prioritize adding value to other people's lives and careers, trust just. It forms naturally. And where you have trust, loyalty isn't usually far behind.
That's powerful. It's not just managing people, it's genuinely enabling them, elevating them. Okay, what's the next key principle in this?
So the second principle is about developing what the author calls conversational capacity.
Conversational capacity.
Yeah. This is basically the skill of having open, balanced dialogue, especially when things get stressful or you're dealing with difficult, high-stakes topics.
Okay, this sounds like it hits right at those blame game meetings we talked about at the start. How does building this capacity change that dynamic, especially when the pressure's on?
It's exactly that. It's about consciously choosing to ask curious questions first, instead of immediately jumping to assumptions or, worse, accusations. It's about learning to balance your own advocacy, sharing your opinions, your solutions, with genuine inquiry, really trying to understand where others are coming from. And it's about staying present and actually listening during those tough conversations, rather than just waiting for your turn to talk so you can refute their point.
Yeah, we've all been in those meetings.
Right. When leaders model this behavior, though, meetings stop being those things you dread. They actually transform into forums for constructive disagreement, which the article reminds us is actually a good thing.
Constructive disagreement, okay.
Yeah. They become places for rapid learning and, really importantly, for making decisions everyone feels aligned with. This is where psychological safety truly starts to take root. And that safety, that's the essential fuel you need for healthy risk-taking and real creativity.
So much less whose fault is this and way more, okay, how do we figure this out together? Makes sense. Got it. What's the third principle?
The third crucial shift is to escape the drama triangle and foster a creator mindset.
A drama triangle.
Yeah, it's a really common, often totally unconscious dysfunctional pattern you see in teams. People tend to fall into these roles: victim, persecutor, or rescuer.
Right. Victim, persecutor, rescuer.
And this pattern keeps teams stuck. Stuck in these cycles of blame and dependency. They're always just addressing the symptoms, never really getting to the root causes.
I can definitely picture those roles playing out. We've all
Yeah.
seen it. So how does shifting to a creator mindset, which sounds much more positive, more proactive, how does that break the cycle?
It shifts the entire culture. It moves away from assigning fault and focuses instead on outcomes and solutions.
Okay.
In a creator mindset, people take ownership for what they can actually influence. So imagine a deadline gets missed. Instead of a leader asking, okay, who screwed this up?
Yeah. Yeah, the typical response.
Exactly. A go-giver leader, operating from a creator mindset, shifts the question. Becomes something like, okay, the outcome we absolutely need is X by date Y. What's one small proactive step we can all take right now to get us back on track?
Focus on the collective action.
Precisely. It's about collective forward motion, not individual blame or endless postmortems. And this dramatically reduces rework because people start getting proactive about solving problems before they blow up. It increases velocity. Things get done faster because all that energy gets channeled into productive problem solving instead of just frustration and finger pointing. It literally turns that negative drained energy into a positive forward-moving force.
Wow, that sounds like a total game changer. For efficiency, sure, but also just for team morale. Okay, and there's one more principle, right? It feels like we've covered a lot about giving.
Yeah.
What about the other side?
You're absolutely right. Very perceptive. The fourth principle is to practice receptivity as well as giving.
Receptivity.
Yeah. The article specifically warns that just pure one-way giving without any receptivity can actually lead to leader burnout. And it creates these imbalanced, ultimately unsustainable relationships. It's easy, to fall into that trap of thinking that leadership means you always have to have the answers or you always have to be the one providing everything.
That makes so much sense. You can't just keep pouring from your cup without ever letting it get refilled
Mm.
or letting others, chip in and offer support back.
Exactly right. The law of receptivity reminds leaders to be open to receiving insights from their team, open to receiving honest feedback, even when it's tough to hear, and open to receiving actual support from their team.
Okay.
It means modeling asking for help sometimes. It means openly acknowledging your own mistakes when you make them, and genuinely incorporating others' ideas into your decisions and plans, not just pretending to listen. This balance is so critical. It prevents that compassion fatigue that can definitely set in with constant giving. And maybe even more importantly, it models healthy interdependence for the whole team. It shows everyone, even the leader, is part of the collective effort and benefits from collaboration and mutual support. Yeah. It really reinforces that a team is strongest when everyone is both a giver and a receiver.
What's really fascinating about all these principles, the law of value, conversational capacity, escaping that drama triangle, practicing receptivity, is how they seem interconnected. How does the article suggest they build on each other, amplify each other?
Oh, they absolutely compound. It's not just additive, it's multiplicative.
Yeah.
The author points out that a leader who consistently practices these things gives value, maintains strong conversational capacity, fosters that creator mindset, and is also receptive. They kickstart this really powerful positive feedback loop.
A feedback loop. Okay.
Yeah. So when you give value and you're also receptive to others, trust naturally builds up. Trust, in turn, enables better work because people feel psychologically safe. Safe to take risks, share those half-baked ideas, be themselves without fear of judgment. Better work, then, creates momentum. That feeling of progress, of success, that things are moving forward.
That's energizing.
Totally energizing.
Right?
And momentum, perhaps most powerfully, it attracts and it retains the very kind of high-performing, engaged people who can then sustain this positive cycle. It becomes a self-reinforcing system that just keeps getting stronger and more resilient over time.
Okay, so we've taken a really deep dive into this whole world of go-giver leadership. We've contrasted it pretty starkly with that more traditional go-getter approach. And we've seen pretty clearly, I think, how this isn't just some, nice sentiment or a fluffy HR concept. It's actually presented as a real strategic advantage, one that fosters trust, builds loyalty, and ultimately drives mutual success within a team.
Absolutely. And we've really unpacked the practical framework of that go-giver mindset, breaking it down into those 4 key principles that compound on each other. First, that law of value. Really investing deeply in your team's growth, sponsoring their development, actively clearing obstacles for them, basically, giving more in value than you take back. Second, developing that conversational capacity,
Mm.
mastering that crucial skill of open, balanced dialogue even, or maybe especially under stress, asking curious questions, balancing your advocacy with real inquiry.
Right. And then we talked about escaping the drama triangle, getting out of those victim, persecutor, rescuer roles, and really fostering that creator mindset instead.
Yeah.
Shifting the focus from blame towards outcomes, taking ownership, collaborating on the solutions, turning that negative energy into forward motion.
Exactly. And finally, that crucial, sometimes overlooked piece, practicing receptivity.
Yeah.
Being genuinely open to receiving insights, feedback, support,
Mm.
modeling asking for help yourself, acknowledging mistakes openly.
Yeah.
And like we said, these principles, they don't just sit side by side. They weave together, creating that powerful positive feedback loop, building trust, enabling better work, generating that sustainable momentum for everybody involved.
So, thinking about all this, what does it really mean for you listening right now? How might your team, your workplace, actually transform if you consciously tried shifting from more of a go-getter to a go-giver leadership approach, maybe even just starting this week?
You know, the article leads us with this really powerful, almost provocative question. It cuts right to the chase. It asks, the question isn't whether you can afford to make this change. In today's complex environment, the real question is, can you afford not to?
Wow. That's a profound question to sit with, especially when you think about the potential costs of not making this shift. The burnout, the turnover, the stalled projects we talked about. And remember, like the article suggests, small changes can actually compound pretty quickly. It offers a few really practical actions you could literally try this week. Maybe it's delegating a truly meaningful decision to someone on your team, really empowering them to own the whole outcome, start to finish. Or perhaps in your next one-on-one, you could ask for truly honest feedback. Not just the surface level stuff, but really invite constructive criticism.
Yeah, be receptive.
Exactly, be receptive. Or maybe consider publicly acknowledging someone's growth, not just that they hit a target, but how they've actually developed or made a specific contribution to the team's culture. Just try one small thing, see what shifts. Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We really hope this is giving you some valuable insights, maybe some practical ideas to bring into your own leadership practice.